Welcome back, guys, to Let's Build Jurassic World, and as you can see in this episode, we're continuing with our Velociraptor Paddock build, and within this 10 minutes we actually make some real progress. We have the main structure down and kind of all the interior detail you'd expect from one of my builds. So guys, let's begin. Now, in the previous episode, we just did this terraforming of the cliff, and in that episode I did mention that I kind of worried that the template of the Raptor Paddock wouldn't actually fit. So in the start here, I just had to bring the cliff out a couple of blocks further to make sure we had kind of nice, optimum room for this template within. Now, one of the big features of the Raptor Paddock is it's obviously this really big, industrial and secure paddock. So it has really thick, chunky walls. So that was something I had to template out straight away, and was to kind of make sure that I'd anticipated for how big these walls were and that they fit within this build I was kind of designing. So I put on these nice chunky walls here, and then kind of obviously move that same kind of distance all the way around, and then kind of start on a focal point that we don't actually really get a good kind of interaction with in the film, and that is the main gate to the Raptor Paddock. So in the film, Owen's character, he goes through the caged entrance all the time. Whenever he needs to get into the Raptor Paddock, or we see the raptors, we always see them from the cage view. However, in the background of the paddock, we always see this big main door, and I thought this main door was a nice little focal point we could start working on. Now, in the previous set of episodes, when we did the Indominus Rex paddock, I used these stone walls kind of as a replacement for big industrial steel girders, so I felt using them as a doorway there worked really nicely to kind of give it that kind of industrial and modern feel, because I couldn't really think of another block in Minecraft that could replace these stone walls as a doorway and give the same effect of that kind of because I think any other block would have made it just look like a wall, a different coloured wall, but I think these stone walls are so different that they give a nice effect, and you kind of tell it's the entrance way in. So what's also interesting about this doorway is there's these big strong it's that structural sense that this paddock's so strong like nothing could break in or out of it. So it has these huge kind of industrial girder type things either side of the door kind of holding it in place. So I think combining the depth of the wall here and using those stone walls again just gives that idea, you know, this is a big, robust, bulky paddock. So then obviously just add in another one to the right hand side there, and then begin working on the walkway. Now the walkway again is another big part of this Raptor Paddock. It's where all the spectators kind of watch Owen working with these raptors, you know, it's where the guards can fire those tranquilizers in, all sorts of stuff like that. So I thought getting this walkway in straight away so that I can then build around it was very important. Now the walkway is done really simply, you know, we use those stone slabs there and then just simple industrial kind of iron fences just kind of finish it off, and now we start working on the interior wall. Now one interesting kind of detail about the interior wall is it looks like two sort of industrial, you know, crates put on top of each other, so it has this kind of split down the middle, so you saw me putting that in with the upside down stone stairs, and I feel that gives a nice little look, that idea that it's just kind of two big metal blocks placed on top of one another. And then we start moving down on the diagonal wall, and then I kind of just make sure I keep that exact same style all the way down it. So I add in these extra, you know, dark stone brick blocks so I can actually kind of zigzag the fence down it, because if I didn't put this zigzag in, the fences wouldn't connect up with each other and they just look like a set of metal poles along the walkway. So adding in those and obviously carrying in the walkway down the middle just worked really nicely, and obviously it kind of added in that extra detail and made sure this was the right shape for the paddock that we see in the film. So let's finish off that nicely there, and then I come in here because I need to add in that lip again, that kind of gap between the two sections of the wall. Because we're on that diagonal again, diagonals are so fiddly in Minecraft, so I had to go in and add in those extra blocks underneath. So what I could do is I could place a stair here, as you see me do that, and then place in another stair here, and in the same way it connects up the fences on the top, this then connects up these upside down stone stairs and just gives that idea, you know, it means that we can't see through the wall, there aren't any little gaps or holes anywhere, it just works really nicely. Now back here, you'll notice here there's a kind of one little detail I missed. It's kind of hard to describe, but that steel girder was one block to the left too far. I had to move it to the right there in that quick edit. And then just to give that idea again of structural integrity, just use stairs there as a nice base, and then obviously copy this entire style all the way around the paddock. And then obviously where the doorway is here, you can see where the doorway was on that side we just designed, you can see here I just filled it in with stone wall. Just to, again, there's only doors on one side of it, so you know we don't have them on every side of the paddock. Now, also from looking at a really nice image on Google Images actually of this Raptor paddock, there was a bit of detail there you just saw me add in, and it's quite less industrial on all the other sides. The door's the main big, like, kind of strong focal point with the big girders sticking out of it and that kind of stuff. But the rest of it is quite a nice seamless wall. So now obviously we're on the inside of the door, and we're just adding in, you know, those extra little details again you'd expect. There's like a iron frame that goes around it again, giving that idea of this structural integrity. So building up that kind of layers. And then obviously adding in that little extra detail using upside down stone stairs just to give that extra shadow and that extra sense of depth. Now, once we've got that in here, we start working on the walkways. And the walkways are a relatively simple process actually. And I feel even though they're so simple to do, they give a really good effect. So obviously they look like a big cross. So I cross in these stone slabs across the very center of the paddock, and then by just using upside down, you know, well, obviously widen the middle here just to give it a bit of a spherical base, and then by using these upside down stone stairs here, it just kind of gives me that kind of work, that kind of area where I can work the fences through and just give it that, again, the idea that this is all this one whole kind of cohesive build, and that means the fences run nicely down and they all connect up with the outer walls, again, like we see in the film. Now, there is only one, there's one main, structural kind of pillar holding this up. So this, again, was a really just simple method of just combining different Minecraft materials to give it that idea. It's kind of a complex industrial build. So then I layer up these stone walls here, and then add in kind of some more stone walls, some more stone slabs here and there, and it just gives that nice kind of strong look. I think when we zoom out in a minute, it really looks as if this is kind of a strong base and could hold up those walkways. Now we've got these in, we have to start working kind of on the floor itself. Now, the floor in the film isn't grass, it's kind of dirty sand type stuff. So in a similar way to what we did in the Indominus Rex paddock, I used this kind of dirt block. Again, I forget its name, but this dirt block I feel is a good replacement, because if I just place dirt down, obviously the grass would expand and gradually grow, and then it become fully grass again. So by using this, it obviously prevents the grass from growing. Now, there's a lot of foliage still in this paddock, so again, by using the simple methods, kind of give a really nice effect. We use these back in the Jurassic Park T-Rex paddock build. I kind of build up this idea of using, you know, bushes and combined with large ferns, and then obviously just simple trees and bone meal. Just gives a really nice kind of overgrown effect, and that's kind of what we see in all these Jurassic Park films. There's no one in these paddocks, you know, cutting the grass, is there? So by putting in this nice long kind of dense foliage and combining it with a couple of small trees, because when we get that aerial view of the paddock, it does look quite dense in there really. So adding those trees really gives it kind of that dense jungle feel. Now I expanded out the grass a little bit here and there, then touched it up again, you know, making sure there's this nice long grass on every kind of patch of grass I'd placed in. I don't like leaving, you know, grass blocks without anything on top of them. I think by putting bone meal grass in just adds that extra kind of effect. So then I expand the kind of woodland little area around the back a little bit more, and then we're coming towards the end of the build here, so I start adding in all those little extra details that I spotted from freeze framing a couple of YouTube clips. And one of them is this kind of frame that obviously it's that extra bit, again, structural integrity. It kind of holds up the balcony against the wall, so we have that frame there. And then I'm not sure what the benefit of these vents are, because it's an open top paddock, isn't it? But there are also these little vents here that kind of sit on the edge of the wall, and yeah, again, I can't guess their function, but they are there. So again, I just added them in, and then obviously added in the detail on the other side of the paddock. And then there are two more little things for us to do, and again, it's kind of stuff that I feel looks really cool, but I can't really guess its purpose. There's this kind of big frame that kind of hangs over the main door, and this is kind of a really good representation of what it looks like, but I don't know what it does. Now what we need to add in are the big fog lights. So obviously at night time they need to light up this whole paddock. The way I did these is I don't have a good Minecraft light source that I could have done for this, but by just adding in these stone walls like that and then putting in the two slabs there, I think they look nice as kind of off. as if they are the fog lights, but they're not currently turned on. So guys, that actually brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, and obviously there's a couple more episodes to come on this Raptor Paddock, in which we'll build the kind of main cage here, and then a couple of the little outbuildings that we see around the paddock, you know, some little storage facilities, there's some, you know, kind of industrial crates lying around here and there. So yeah, in the next episode we'll come back and add in those final details. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to seeing you next time. So I'll see you then. Goodbye.